time for another fat installment of Magic Spoilers from Throne of Eldraine. Let's do this! Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, and welcome to another Throne of Eldraine spoiler video. I'm going to try and cram some more cards into this video than I did in the previous one. We shall see how that works out, how it goes. Anyhow, I want to let you know, if you don't want to miss any of my videos or any of my live streams, hop into my Discord, make sure you hit that subscribbling button, and let us dive right in to the cards. Starting with Gluttonous Troll. So 1 green, 1 black, 2 colorless for a 3/3 troll with trample. When it enters the battlefield, you create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Sacrifice another non-land permanent. Gluttonous Troll gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Now, you may have noticed it talks about how you get tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. That's because this is one of the new Brawl cards. The artwork is a lot of fun. Obviously, when we're talking about fairy tales, where do trolls belong? Under bridges. Where is this troll? Clearly under a bridge. And you can see his gluttony portrayed in multiple ways. You can see that fat, distended belly that he's got there down there stuck between his legs. I think it's hilarious that I think he's supposed to be clutching a chicken and like opening his mouth like he's going to eat the chicken whole, but it actually kind of just looks like he's got the top of a chicken on his thumb, like just a chicken from the neck up on his thumb, like he made himself a little like pet, just a little puppet. So when we break down the rest of the art, you've got another chicken that is fleeing from him. I gotta get out of here! It ate that guy. He ate my husband. He ate my husband, Cletus. Cletus is a chicken name, right? All right. So on the bridge, you can see that there is a blood smear. There's bones surrounding him as he has eaten, obviously, more than just chickens. The idea that he just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more bloated from the stuff that you feed him, that he shows up with a big trundlebus arm full of food, is a lot of fun. And I really like the colors of the other direction when you're leaving the bridge. Like if you were to walk by him, which would be obviously unadvisable, but if you were to walk by him, the woods out beyond under the bridge actually look kind of inviting. I like the colors that are used here. But yeah, this is a pretty straightforward, I'm a giant troll who gets bigger and bigger by eating and lives under a bridge. It definitely feels very fantasy style. After that, we've got All That Glitters. As the saying goes, all that glitters must be gold. 1 white, 1 colorless enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. And the art depicts a beautiful little fairy, a little sprite, sitting on an entire pile of treasure. Just a massive amount of gold. Honestly, that translates well with treasure tokens, if you were to think of like the Ixalan block and all the treasure tokens, or even Smothering Tithe from the newer set. Smothering Tithe would actually combine quite well with this enchantment. I mean, it's going to give you some decent bang for your buck. I like the fact that the enchantment counts itself as well. I like how straightforward. I like how well tied together this is. It's a very straightforward enchantment. Obviously, the more, and the idea of the more wealth you have, the more powerful you are, works too. So overall, not too shabby a card. After that, we've got another fairy. Obviously, the previous art just showed a fairy in it, but in this one, we actually have a fairy. This is the Animating Fairy. 1 blue, 2 colors for a 2/2 fairy. This one has flying. It also is one of those storybook cards, so it has the sorcery Bring to Life. Target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 0/0 artifact creature. Put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. So she will animate, in this, it looks like she's animating a doll, assembling the parts together to give it life and infusing it with magical energy. I kind of like this. This fairy looks rather beautiful. She doesn't really seem to have traditional fairy wings. It looks like she has a big blue gossamer cloak that allows her to fly. It actually looks like what's happened here is she has flown in through an open attic window and is animating an old discarded child's toy. That's kind of the vibe that I get from this. When you read the Throne of Eldraine book, you will find that in places like the castle that Rowan and Will Kenrith live in, they actually use magical wards on every door and window to ensure that fey creatures cannot sneak in. You won't have fairies breaking in. They do still find a way in the story, but either way, this is very evocative. Honestly, I like the idea. It has a whimsical nature to it. Also, kind of it could lead to evil as well, right? You never know what kind of mischief the animated doll would get up to. But this is some sick flavor on this card. After that, we've got a punny name. We've got Belle of the Brawl instead of Belle of the Ball. 1 black, 2 colors for a 3/2 human knight with menace. Whenever Belle of the Brawl attacks, other knights you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Now, this card to me doesn't represent any particular sort of fairy tale. It is just kind of a knight that is in the set to plump out the number of knights. This, in fact, might actually be something specifically designed for, I don't know, Brawl decks? This is most likely a Brawl deck exclusive. I don't know, because some of the images I'm using were actually lifted from Arena. So I feel like this is a Brawl card, but I'm not 100% because we can't see the collector number down there. And the Brawl decks don't only consist of cards that were specifically designed for Brawl. They do have some regular Throne of Eldraine cards in there. Now you can see this Belle just charging along on a Dark Charger with her cloak billowing out behind her. It's a nice scene of action. You can see the horse is either partially rearing up or it's just charging directly into battle. Could be one or the other. You can see her leaning forward in the saddle, kind of standing up, probably to get a good swing with the sword. Overall, not too shabby a card, but also not the most exciting. After that, we've got a Beefcake Fairy. This is Fairy Formation. In all honesty, this seems like a pretty decent card. 5/4 flyer, pay 1 blue and 3 colors, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying, and draw a card. That's some bang for your buck. It makes you think of Spectral Sailor as well from Core 2020. So we have an entire formation of fairies. So normally when you have a big creature, it's a big creature because you have one lumbering mass, like the Gluttonous Troll would be gigantic from eating a bunch of things. Whereas this is large based on sheer numbers. I don't actually know how many fairies are depicted in this artwork, but by my count, there are at least 10 shown here. The leader of it, well, I mean, I call her the leader, but really it's the one that's closest to us, and she's not even really at the front. So probably calling her the leader is not the best idea. The most prominent fairy is using a key that has been like resharpened into a blade. This is what these guys do. These fairies are fun. They feel fairy tale style because they use like pen nibs as sword tips and buttons as shields and stuff. And I adore that. I like that. I like the idea of fairies wearing little thimbles as war helmets and such. It really speaks to me. So overall, this is definitely a decent flyer for blue that lets you draw cards and grow your army at the same time. Not too shabby. Next up, we're going to look at one of those gorgeous alternate art editions from the Collector's Edition. And this is Foulmire Knight. This is a 1/1 zombie knight with Death Touch for 1 black mana. And it also has the sorcery side, which is Profane Insight. 1 black, 2 colors, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. I really like the idea of Profane Insight. It's like you must do something unholy. Something must be sacrificed in a way, and you give of your own lifeblood to gain knowledge. And the artwork shows, honestly, what looks more like a skeleton to me, but I mean, I guess a zombie, skeleton, whatever. Zombie Knight is a fun concept. 1/1, I don't know, man. If you look at the weaponry, it looks like he's holding, or is that all jammed through him? Is that, no, he looks like he's got a big deadly like tree branch or some kind of crazy mace. I can't tell if that's intentionally designed, but you could actually see that a sword has been driven up into him, and it's got such a dark, gloomy feel. Imagine this coming trundling at you, lurching and jerking erratically as it moves towards you unceasingly. Man, this is some nice flavor. And I like the fact that each of the different colors has a border that's suited to it. So the green has like life-filled vines, and on this you have like what looks like black and dead vines. And that works very well on something like a Foulmire Knight. Oh god, the next card, Frogify. I love the flavor behind this card so much. 1 blue, 1 colorless enchantment. It's an enchant creature. The enchanted creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base toughness 1/1. And in brackets they say, loses all other card types and creature types. So it just becomes a frog. And the artwork's fantastic. You can see someone who was, for a moment ago, was a king or a prince. At this point, he's been turned into a frog, and his crown is being stolen from him. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna need this crown. It looks like, or is actually the crown just kind of falling? Hold on, is there a hand there, or is that just part of the feast on the table? Yeah, actually, never mind. Those are bones sticking up out of the meat. They have a really questionable look to them. Those look kind of wangish, you know? I gotta say, it kind of looks like 3 wangs. Anyhow, he's just been turned into a frog, and his crown is falling. So this is the moment where he's just been turned into a frog. He's leapt up onto the table. The crown has fallen from his head, and is still in the process of falling to the table. The table looks very inviting. I like the old school candles. You can see that this is a king, or at least a prince, who is doing quite well for themselves because they have a feast set out for them. And royalty getting turned into frogs is definitely a high-level fantasy trope, right? We all know the kiss a frog and turn it back into royalty. Kiss the frog, baby. Kiss the frog. Or maybe just those meat bones, if you know what I'm saying. Either way, fantastically flavorful card. After that, we've got Chittering Witch. 1 black, 3 colors. This could be the kind of witch, actually, who would frogify somebody. So, this is a 2/2 human warlock. Ooh, warlock. Wait a minute. I thought warlock... I'm a bit confused. I thought that witch was used to denote ladies, and warlock was used to denote men. So, it is a little bit confusing to me to have this as a witch who's not... What? Okay, anyways. I'm not going to get caught up on that. When Chittering Witch enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 black rat creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Same as that troll. 1 black, 1 colorless, sacrifice a creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So this is, I picture this, like you look at her, she is bristling with rats. There are rats crawling all over her, probably hidden in those weird straw sort of bushy garment she's wearing. And I can literally picture her just hawking rats at people. That's how she gives them -2/-2. She's just throwing rats. If you've ever seen the old Simpsons episode where the crazy cat lady is just throwing cats, I picture her just whipping rats at people. Rat to the face, rat to the face, a rat-a-tat-tat to the face. I love it. I love it. This is a crazy bog witch. I absolutely adore it. After that, we've got Piper of the Swarm. So this would be the Pied Piper. 1 black, 1 colorless for a 1/3 human warlock. Rats you control have menace. 1 black, 1 colorless, tap it. Create a 1/1 black rat creature token. 2 black, 2 colorless. Sacrifice 3 rats. Gain control of target creature. Now this is juicy. Honestly, this guy's really solid. He's only 2 to put out. He makes your rats more difficult to block. He creates rats, and he gives you an outlet to turn those rats into powerful creatures as you take your opponent's stuff. And you can see there is a massive swarm of rats following behind him and also congregating ahead of him. I really like the glowing eyes of them, and the fact that his head is turned down and some of his garments are kind of raggedy while he's wandering through a mist-filled town, just piping up this massive swarm of rats, drawing them from all directions until he creates a completely unstoppable army. Very nice. The next card, Rankle, Master of Pranks. I don't know what sort of fairy tale this is supposed to represent. If